Hello, everybody, and good morning from California. I'm filming this one in the morning. This is Ken Faulkner, and I'm bringing you another video. I got a little series I'm doing of some of the knives that I bought more recently that were definitely out of my range price-wise early on, but I've kind of gotten to the point where I realized I was spending a bunch of money on budget knives, and if I just slowed down a little bit on buying, I could save up and still spend way too much money on knives, but kind of keep it under control. This one is one that I've had for a while. I've shown it because I got it from Blade Show Atlanta last year, or this year actually, and I just haven't had a full video on it. It's an awesome knife, though. It's definitely one of those ones I had on my watch list, looking at it and thinking, man, that is such an awesome knife. It would be so awesome to get a Three Rivers manufacturing knife. And this is a Three Rivers manufacturing knife. You can see the little TRM there, USA 20 CV. You can see the amazing looking scales. I got to get a close-up on that and kind of let the light do its thing to show you how it's textured, how it's machined, how it goes from the larger side down into that smaller milling on both sides. There's your TRM symbol, and that's actually kind of machined. It's not just something that's etched onto this scale. It's actually machined in there. It's very, very, very nice. Lots of details to these knives, and you really have to look up close to appreciate them. And yeah, I've had this one for quite a while and really enjoyed it a lot. It may not be my standard, like ultimate go-to, because of the fact that it is a very thin knife, and most of my knives are a little heavier. This is very lightweight. I mean, it's not a small knife. For TRM, this is one of the bigger ones that they make. Let's flick it out. See that awesome blade? And we'll get that ruler out and we'll see what we got. Yeah, I picked this one specifically because I'm getting that 3.5 inch blade, and that's kind of my go-to. Overall, we're talking about 8 inches. So it's definitely that right size, but this, what it is that thinness and the lightness, which, it's not a real bad thing, really, but in the hand, it's a little less solid of a grip, but they do so well with their scales and the milling. It does definitely feel good in the hand. So I mean, I'm definitely not complaining. It's just that is one aspect that I wouldn't choose, but I know a lot of people really like the lightweight. They like the thin. I mean, it's definitely great in the pocket. So anybody that likes that kind of stuff, I mean, this is really a go-to. This is really what you want to get. And for me, I like all different knives. It didn't have to meet all the check boxes that I like. I like to mix it up, have different knives. And this one is just awesome. The blade shape on this is very, very nice. And you can't really, in my mind, talk about TRM without, because they have a style, kind of a design style that they follow. And one of the things that you're going to see with all the TRMs that I've seen is that the blade stock is going to be very, very thin. So I'm going to break out the calipers on this one. Now, I kind of like to get thicker blade stock on a lot of my knives because I'm not worried about the weight so much. But the thinness of this thing has a really great result in the sliciness of the blade. So I'm going to get in here at the thickest part because it tapers down as you go up the blade. They call that a distal taper, which is a really nice design feature for a knife blade of any thickness, because of the fact that it just makes it balanced really well. It's still strong because as it tapers down near the tip where you're not going to be doing so much heavy work, it gets thinner, and so that tip is very, very pokey, and the whole knife itself is very slicey. So we're looking at about 0.089. So that's 89 thousandths of an inch. So that is kind of like, let's see, that's more in the realm of like a 3/16, or not 3/16, that'd be 0.18, 3/32 of an inch. So that's definitely very, very thin. I started looking at some of my other knives to compare it to, just to find knives that were as thin, but you don't really see a lot. Slightly over an inch in the height of the blade. So you get a long distance to go from a very thin behind the edge. I don't know if I'm good at doing this or not. I'll try my best to get that behind the edge thickness. I'm measuring it at 0.02, so 23 thousandths of an inch. I'm not an expert at that, but it's still very, very thin, all the way up to that 0.89 over that distance. So this thing will definitely cut. It's that kind of stuff that'll cut paper really well. And other knives that I've owned that have that sliciness in my collection. Here's one of them. This is probably one that everybody recognizes pretty well. It's the Spyderco Para 2. I can get it open. And actually, when you put them side by side, I'm going to flip them over so it sits a little bit more flat, not sitting on the pocket clip. They're pretty close to the same size. Very similar. Handle length and the blade length, very close. Obviously the blade shapes are quite different. You get a little taller on the Spyderco because you need that room for the hole, but I think slicey wise they're pretty darn close. And then when you get into the thickness, zero that guy out. Come on. We're going to see this one, even though thin, is about 0.137 at the thickest point. So that's like a little over 1/8 of an inch. And you can actually physically see it side by side that the atom is much thinner. Even though I've always considered the Para 2 to be, a Paramilitary 2 to be very thin knife and very slicey as well. Now, looking at other knives that get down to that thin blade, you really have to go with the really thin, lightweight knives, but they're also going to be smaller knives. I have this is the Benchmade Bug Out, and we're looking at pretty close, 0.89. So there's that same thickness, but it's a much shorter blade. Maybe not much shorter, and not quite as tall. This one is going to give you probably a 3.25 inch, 3-inch cutting edge, 3.25 inch blade, as opposed to 3.5. And then this would be the Hogue Deca, and this is in Magna Cut. And this one is about 0.93. So all these knives are similar in that they're the lightweight, slicey knives. But for me, that atom stands above the rest. All of them are nice knives, but just that scale, design, the action. This is running on washers. It's got these thumb studs that are a little bit hard to actuate, but when I bought this knife at Blade Show Atlanta, I was at one of the parties afterwards for Kaiser, and Kevin from Lefty EDC, he was there, and we were all showing our knives off, and we're breaking them out. I was showing this one, and he said, "Hey, I got some of those O-rings, so just hit me up." And then I sent him a message on Instagram, and he mailed them to me, no charge, no nothing. He just said, "Hey, here you go." That's the kind of guy he is. So I've been using those, and it makes it so much easier. It works fine, but it makes it a lot easier to get a grip on these thumb studs, because they're a little bit narrow. This side with the thumb flick is much easier. On the back side, you don't really have as much access to that thumb stud. But when you get when the O-rings are in there, you can still do it. You can see I can do it under the camera without any kind of problem. So that I believe that is a big plus on this particular TRM knife. I haven't tried a lot of other ones yet. Planning on checking out more of them. But anyway, titanium handles, 20 CV blade, nice good sized knife, lightweight, deep carry on the clip. Clip works really great, lots of room for your jeans. Open construction washers for people that like that. So it's not quite gonna drop like some other knives. Maybe not quite fidgety in that drop. You can shake it though, but it is extremely smooth, and there's absolutely no problem with the manufacturer of this knife. So yeah, for me, this is somewhat of a grail level knife, and USA made. I like that. All right, guys. So that's it for this knife. I got a couple more in my set of grail level, more expensive, never thought I'd be able to afford them knives coming up. So stay tuned, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. We got Christmas coming up. I'm going to be out of town for a little while, but I hope everybody's got their Christmas shopping done, and you got plans for a great holiday, and I will see you on the next one.